Today we're doing a review of the Mini DVR 0801 Dashcam. This is a small dash camera which uses the Ambarella A2S60 sensor, which records video at up to 1080p at up to 60 frames per second, which is particularly helpful if you're needing to capture fast action, and you can slow down clips and they'll look smooth. It also means you won't see stuttering in your clips, at least generally speaking it shouldn't. Video quality is pretty good with this little dash camera, even in reasonably low light situations. Obviously in perfectly dark conditions without street lights you will see some issues, but it's not terrible. Basically, for the size of the sensor in this little camera, you're getting quite good video quality for an inexpensive cost. And that's particularly important with a dash camera, because really and truthfully this is just a, it's not your standard action camera. You're not going to be dunking it in the ocean or anything like that. This is designed, primarily for insurance purposes. And I know some people who are using them to record bad drivers. That's one of the reasons why I have a dash camera. It's not the primary reason, though. The next thing I want to talk about is the video and battery life of this camera, because that's an important factor with a lot of, some dash cams on the market use a battery. And that is a bit of a problem, especially if you're going on a long trip. These small batteries in a device like this, you might get an hour or so, maybe 2 or 3, and then you run out of batteries, and then you have to switch batteries and fool around with the camera. The whole idea of a dash camera like this is you plug it in and you forget it. So this camera is pretty good in that regard. It does have an onboard battery, so that if you are in an accident, you can unplug it and take it out, and there is ability to take pictures and video outside of your vehicle, but the battery life is quite short. Reports are saying 5 to 10 minutes. I would say that's quite accurate. The next thing we're going to talk about is just the size of the camera itself. It's not a big camera, as you can see. I'll just give you a size comparison here to an iPhone, just so you have an idea of what you're working with here. It's, not ginormous or too small or anything like that. It's perfect. It fits right behind the mirror of your car, which keeps it at a low profile, especially if the mirror on your vehicle is dark in color, which is pretty standard. I just want to now switch attention to the back of the unit, where there's a small, just over an inch size LCD, and that's just so you can view what's going on the back of the camera. I have a external USB here, so I'm just going to plug it in so you can see what happens when the camera receives power. Just got to turn it on here. As you can see, immediately it starts to power on. That's the same thing that would happen inside your car. Then the camera itself comes on, as you can see, and it's pretty small. You can see it immediately started recording. That's how the camera is set to activate by default, which is good because you don't want to forget to turn it on when you're in your car. You can see even now the battery's charging. I haven't had it plugged in for a little while, and it still runs down. It's charging up. On here you can see that there's the date and time. Down here we have the recording time and time remaining, information like that. And it shows, the screen is automatically set to turn off after a minute. So if you're going along and you want to take a picture, you just take a clip. All these different things. Okay, so we've stopped recording. To take a picture, you just hold down the button. Now, to view pictures and video that are on the camera, you just click through as such. This shows you recent clips and video, which is, you know, reasonably helpful. To get out of that, you just hold down the button again, and it brings you back. When you press up, it takes you into the menu system, which allows you to select your video recording, resolution. Then you have picture size. You have all kinds of other stuff going on here. You can choose exposure, metering, all kinds of things. So if you are familiar with cameras and you know how to get the best results, you can set up the camera to operate that way. It also allows you to set the date and time. It allows you to turn on the GPS or not, depending on whether you get a version that supports a GPS. And you have the ability to update the firmware on the camera that way as well. So basically it's, you know, a pretty simple camera. Nothing super exciting. You can turn off the camera just by holding down the button there, and it switches off. When you're actually in the car, you adjust the angle of the camera simply with this arm right here, which adjusts. As I said, the power switch is over here. On the top of the camera, you have a USB connection. You have a microphone connection. There is a built-in microphone and speaker in case you have to play it back for police or something. You have the actual lens, the built-in microphone, as I said, built-in speaker. This is the connection port for when you're in the car. This is where the power comes in through the base unit, which I'll show you in the car clips later. And on the bottom of the camera, there's a connection for HDMI and a micro SDHC or micro SDXC card, which just pops in. It's a little tricky, but not too hard. So that's kind of the basic information about the camera. There's nothing very complicated about the camera, and that's what's really nice. You just plug it in to your car, and if you have it set that way, it will start auto recording, which is great. It's pretty. So here we are again with the dash cam. Just kind of showing the in-car setup right now. So I'm just going to hook it up. It's pretty hard to do with one hand, so we'll be right back. So here's the dash cam set up in the car. It's plugged in. Now I know normally a lot of people have it hooked up with the mount, but I wanted the mount as far over, as close to the edge of the mirror as possible. So I had a wide field of view. So anyways, I have my wire running here. It goes down under the mat and right there. Okay, so that's the power hookup. When you turn the car on, the camera comes on and it prepares to record. So that's it doing its thing, and that's pretty much all there is to the in-car part.
For details and to get your free in-home estimate, call 604-598-3993 or visit West Coast Floors at 76 and 128 in Missouri. Hey, it's the Shawbots, and we're not inside your cable.
Today we're out in the wild, delivering free Doggo Wi-Fi to over 30,000 hotspots.
We get to go to coffee shops, malls, gyms, bowling alleys, and around the street. It's nice to get out once in a while.
Can we go come now, please?
I thought you never asked. Oh, it's pretty safe. Make it dizzy. Yeah, we have. What we've done is we've joined up with a partner who is going after their LP, their licensed producer, license. That sounds silly. Licensed producer, license. Yeah, okay. What we do with our JV is we go to other growers who are licensed by Health Canada. We have them grow specific strains, which we call Ross's Gold, Ross's Platinum. Once the government gets its head around it and understands it's dried cannabis, which is all we're allowed to produce right now, is not the way. It's into edibles. We see money be made out of edibles, be it from sports drinks to pills to you name it. You go out to Washington and you got like 10 different types of cookies on the counter. So there's so many opportunities there outside of just the dried cannabis. Does this or does this not sound familiar to the people in Canada? As you know, we've been dealing with this issue in Canada for some time. And of course, the one thing that we have
CFL reports today that Winnipeg will host the 2015 Grey Cup. Meanwhile, Lions owner David Braley called the team 1040 earlier today to confirm that the club is not for sale. However, he is telling the Toronto Argos asking price